And most of us, or many people, do New Year's resolutions with the new year. How many did a New Year's resolution? Oh, you're all you're Unity people. You don't do that anymore. I'm getting a little ringing up here, my mic. If you could, anyway. Yeah, still there.
Yeah.
Ringing. But often with New Year's resolutions or a beginning of a new year, we look and see, okay, what of our flaws can we correct? Anybody think that way? I need to fix that. I need to eat better. I need to be healthier. I need to work out more. I need to make more money, whatever it is for us. Those things that we like, a new year, we can do it now. I saw this Peanuts comic, and Charlie Brown saying, look at my list of New Year's resolutions, telling Lucy, I'm going to try to correct all my flaws. The human mind recoils at the contemplation of such a staggering task. I love that. And then Ellen Goodman, who's an American journalist and a Pulitzer Prize winner, said this: we spend January 1 walking through our lives room by room, drawing up a list of work to be done, cracks to be patched. This year, we ought to walk through the rooms of our lives, not looking for flaws, but for potential. For potential. We've got so much more potential within us than we realize. Whatever we can envision for ourselves, whatever we can dream, whatever we can hold for our lives only scratches the surface of the potential that Spirit has placed within each one of us. There's so much more that we don't see. Every year, depending on what article you read, between 35 or 38 and 87% of people do a New Year's resolution on New Year's Eve. It's a big spread, I know, but there's still a lot of people that do New Year's resolutions. They're not Unity people, but they create goals and resolutions. And then 50 to 80%, depending on what article you read, will have failed at their New Year's resolutions by the end of January. They give up. In fact, I didn't even know this. I saw this morning. There's such a thing called Quitter's Day. Have you heard of Quitter's Day? It's the second Friday of January. So that would be this coming Friday, the 12th, where most people have quit, but they can re-equip themselves to go forward and continue on. But I never heard of Quitter's Day, but that was a new one on me. But, January is the start of a new year, and it's like we hear the bell, New Year's Eve, Happy New Year, and we're off to the races. It's like being in the starting gate of a horse race. We hear that bell, the gates open, and we're off. We got a new year filled with hope, filled with anticipation, filled with all these things we're going to put on this new year, all these new ways we're going to be. And it feels like a race. It feels like, think about a horse race. And if we're coming out the starting gate and we're in this race, what are we doing but going around in circles, doing the same things over and over and over? And so we want to stop being on this race track. We want to look at our lives differently. Naomi Levy says, "And hope will find you. When life is a race, you're always trying to catch up. The question a person in a race asks is, how far ahead am I? It's not a race. You don't need to catch up. You need to open up. Open yourself up and inspiration will come. Creativity will come. Answers will come. New ways of approaching old problems will come. Open yourself up and you will see your new way of entering the world." I love that quote because isn't that true? We need to just open ourselves up instead of trying to keep competing and getting that next promotion, getting more money, getting healthier, it's all good. But what are we chasing? Are we enjoying life? Are we feeling joyful? Or are we just going around in circles on the racetrack? So don't keep yourself locked into doing everything the same way you've done it every year. Every year should be new, with a new way of being, new way of looking at life. If you do what you've always done, you'll keep getting the same result. It's not rocket science. We need to change it up. Spirit is always inviting us to grow, always inviting us to express ourselves in new ways, to be more, to live life more fully, freer, more joyfully. It requires us to set a new intention, a new course, get out of the racetrack and try something different. I don't know what is with me with comics this weekend, but I found this other one from Calvin and Hobbes that I really liked. I don't know if you can read it. It says, are you making any resolutions for the new year? And he says, yeah, I'm resolving to just wing it and see what happens. And so he says, so you're staying the course? I stick to my strengths. I love that. We have many strengths, but we don't realize what they are without leaning into them. You can wing it. Certainly that could be your intention for this year. Wing it, and God's in charge after all, right? But if we don't set an intention, what are we creating? We're just letting life happen instead of creating a life we would love, instead of creating a life that works for us. And this unity, Jeannie talked about ritual versus ceremony, and I've always called it a ritual, so I guess it's both. It's a ceremony and a ritual, but unity has this beautiful ritual of getting a white stone and then discerning what is your name for this year. What is your word for this year? What is your intention for this year? How are you going to show up this year? And it affects, the word you select, the name you select affects all areas of your life, not just one. You want to be laser focused, and that's why one word or one name or a short, maybe 2 words, whatever, is really good to just be laser focused on what you're going to be this year, how you're going to show up this year. It's a beautiful ceremony as you discern what that word is. And it's based on the book of Revelation, and it goes back to ancient times. It comes from the book of Revelation chapter 2, verse 17, which says, "Let anyone who has an ear to listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. To everyone who conquers, I will give some of the hidden manna. And I will give a white stone, and on the white stone is written a new name that no one knows except the one who receives it." So let's leave that up for a moment. Let's break that down. The first part is about listening. Anyone who has an ear, we all have an ear. Whether it works well or it has a hearing aid or whatever, we all have ears. And so it's for everyone. This message is for everyone. So anyone who listens to the guidance of Spirit, listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. Church metaphysically represents the house of the Lord, which is our consciousness, in which there are many aspects of our consciousness. So it's meant to be for your whole life, your whole self. Guidance is not just for one part of our life. It affects everything. It affects the wholeness of who we are. And so anyone who has an ear, listen to what the Spirit is saying to your whole self. What is your guidance saying to your whole self? It always will be good for our whole selves. And then anyone who is willing to conquer, anyone who is willing to overcome, to face their challenges, face their fears, face their reactivity or the resistance or whatever is coming up and blocking any of our good. Anyone who's willing to conquer that. Anyone. That Spirit is promising 3 things. So you have to be willing to listen to the guidance and have to be willing to overcome whatever is challenging you. There's 3 promises. The first is hidden manna. Hidden manna is a new source of energy. It's spiritual nourishment. It's what comes from within. It's not something that, it could be something that we feed our bodies, but it's mostly what we feed our soul. And that spirit, when we listen to our guidance and follow our guidance and live from that place, that we are energized, that we are nourished, that we have all we need. Then the second promise is you will be given a white stone, meaning you will be given a clean slate. It doesn't matter what you did in the past, doesn't matter who you were, nothing matters but moving forward. In this present moment, you are given a clean slate. You're forgiven, let it go. Clean slate. A white stone represents a fresh start, a new beginning. In ancient times, the times of Jesus, when someone was released from prison, they were given a white stone. Or if there was a trial and there was a basket of stones, if they had white stones, it means they were acquitted. So you're released, you're free. That's a promise. When we listen to the guidance and we take steps to overcome our challenges based on that guidance, we are nourished, we are given a clean slate, and then the third one is we get a new name, we get a new identity, something only you know. When you get a clean slate, think about how freeing that feels. You get a new name. You get to show up in a different way than you've shown up before. So we get a new name. It could be a word, it can be a name, it can be a title, it can be a value, a virtue, a attribute, whatever it is for you, and only you hear it. Only you can discern it for yourself. Nobody can tell you what it should be. And it shouldn't be forced. It shouldn't be something that it should be or could be. But what is it? What is it? And you don't need to ask your spouse for permission for this word, or your friends, or me. You don't have, this is your word, this is your name. And only you know what it is. It may not make sense. You may get a word and you're very clear that that's the word or that's the name for the year, and you don't know. If you choose that and you're clear that that's the word and you don't know why, it will reveal itself. It will reveal itself. Only you know. This is a new identity. It's a new way. So be patient. A lot of times I feel like I'm thinking about my word ahead of this service, and words come and they're not it for me. You know, maybe you've got your word already and that's great. I'm not to judge that. It's a new identity, new way of being. So try it on and feel it. And make it something different than last year. Sometimes we think, well, I didn't really work that one very well. I better do it again. No, let it go. It's a new year. It's a clean slate. Last year, my word was be. I noticed that I had been just super busy doing. And I chose the word be. I didn't choose it. So another thing about your word is it chooses you. You don't choose it. And this word be came to me. And reflecting back now, as I was preparing for today, I thought, well, I didn't do very well with that word. I was still really busy. I still did a lot. But when I took it deeper, when I reflected on the word be and I took it deeper, I realized that it was the perfect word for me. That things that came up in my life, I was able to be present. I was able to be calm. I was able to just be and let things unfold as they will. And 2023 was a challenging year for me. But I was present to it. I didn't try to push it away or fight it. It just was, I beed. I was being. So, no matter what word you might have had last year, or if this is your first time, great. There's a new identity for you. There's a new word for this year, for 2024. So pick a new name. Pick a new name. Don't recycle. It can feel like the year, it's the same. Get off that racetrack. This is a new year. We're not recycling last year. Recycle, but don't recycle the year. Don't recycle your name. So this year, just a couple weeks ago, I came across this book called One Word That Will Change Your Life. I don't know, has anybody read it? It's what we're doing today. And I love that it's a short book. I read it in less than an hour. And there's a kids version too. So if any of you that have children, One Word for Kids, great to do as a family, to pick your words as a family. But it's filled with stories of people who chose one word and the impact it had on them. But what I love about the book is its process. Its process, he says and it's written by Jim Gordon, Dan Britton, and Jimmy Page, says to first look in. We need to prepare our heart. We need to spend some time in quiet contemplation, maybe some time in the silence, maybe some time taking a walk or hike on your own, and look inside your heart. Look inside, look in. What's longing to be expressed this year? And then we look up. And he says looking up is about looking at it from the highest version of yourself that you can imagine. We look up. We receive our word. Receive it instead of forcing it or choosing it because that's what we need to work on. No. You receive it because Spirit is whispering it in your ear. You receive it because it's what you're feeling. And this can come during meditation. It can come when you're in the shower. It can come when you're walking, when you're doing chores, it can come at any time. It can come from someone else saying something, and you just know that's the word. That's the name. So be mindful of that. Be aware. We look in to our heart. We set our intention that we are ready to receive. Then we look up, receive the word, and then we look out. We live our word. Stay aware of how you can express this word in all areas of your life: mental, emotional, relational, physical, spiritual, all areas of your life. How does that word help you be a higher version of who you are? Express more from that divine self of who you are. Express more from that potential of who you are. And so we look in, we look up, and we look out. And then they suggest sharing that word not before you select it, or you hear it, or you receive it, but after you have it with those you're close to, so they can hold that for you. Share it in a team, in a staff. Share it in a family. If you have kids, share it. Have your family do this together. Put them prominently somewhere on your refrigerator or on your mirror or somewhere. And use that word, use that name, that new identity to make 2024 just a fantastic year for you. Fantastic year by setting this intention. Laser focus, off the racetrack, can make a big difference. So are you ready to live this year with intention and purpose in all areas of your life? Okay, so we're going to do a guided meditation. Does everyone have a stone? I picked a big one this year. I need big reminders. Does everyone have a stone? Does anyone need a stone? Everyone's got it, so I want you to hold it in your hand. If the ushers would come with a basket, is there someone that needs a stone? Raise your hand if you need a stone. Over here. Do you want a stone, Karen? I would love. Karen would like a stone too, and you greeters. There, Theo. Okay, everybody's got a stone. I want you to hold your stone in your hands. Gently close your eyes. Karen's going to just have some little piano music in the background for us. Take a deep breath. Invite the activity of spirit into your heart. Just for the next few minutes. Look in. Look within your heart and listen. And ask. Ask for a new name, a new word. Whenever we ask, there is already an answer. So we invite Spirit to reveal a new name for you, a new intention of being, which will be written on your stone, written in your heart. Perhaps there's a new career, a new title, a new quality of spirit, a new value, an attribute that is pressing out through you. I invite you to give your ego a few minutes off and just allow Spirit to give you the name. Let your divine holy self come through. Give yourself permission to have a clean slate. We're only moving forward. We're not looking back. And so we look up from the deepest, highest part of you, not forcing it, but discerning it. Surrender to the God in you to hear what is longing to come forth. This white stone is a promise of a new life. It's the symbol of a clean slate. Whatever's gone on in the past, we stop letting it define us. This is a sign of our ability in this moment to live in this new beginning. This is the moment in which we know we are free, free from all that has imprisoned us. And so we look out. Anytime you look out at your white stone in the future, you have an opportunity to realize that you have the gift of choice. The gift to live differently, to live more fulfilling life, to begin again, to connect with God. You are a creator. The divine in you is calling you to be. To be. whisper from your soul that you are much more than you have ever let come into expression up till now. So as you're guided by Spirit, I invite you to trust in this now moment, in this moment of truth. Allow Spirit to reveal an insight into your divine purpose, an insight into your holy essence. And so into that place, that secret place of the Most High, I invite you to allow yourself to hear the new name that God has for you. And as this name becomes clear, just allow yourself to write it. And if you haven't gotten one yet, it's okay. Whatever it is, know that it's your sacred name, that your higher self is calling forth. We'll sit with this for a few moments in stillness. If a name has come to you, stay quiet and allow yourself to ask for a deeper understanding. Ask if there are any steps to take. Maybe a first step will be revealed. You can write on the back of your stone. Not an entire set of instructions, just a first step, a couple of words to remind you of an action step of how you will be that word, that name in this new year. Life in you reveals your true essence. Life in you reveals your next step. And life in you lives a joyous, peaceful, fulfilling life. Behold, I make all things new, for you are my beloved, in whom I am well pleased. When you've received a name or word, claim it. Claim it in your hearts as you return your attention to this sanctuary, to your stone. And if you've received a name, write it on your stone. If you haven't heard a word or a name yet, then just be aware over the next few days. You have asked and an answer is on its way to you. Be open and trust. It's your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Accept this consciousness of ever increasing good in your life. I invite you to carry this white stone as a reminder of that promise. Put it someplace where you will see it often. Okay, I invite you back to this place. You can open your eyes, and if you need a marker or Sharpie, raise your hand. And we don't have enough for everybody, but you can pass them around. And as we listen to this next beautiful song by Karen.